Hello, my Hebrew brothers and sisters and my Gentile brothers and sisters. Awaken Hebrew 777. Did you know that the scriptures are actually the books of heaven and earth? The so-called New Testament are the keys to heaven, whereas the Old Testament are the keys to earth. The traditional term, Old and New Testament, have always been blinds. What you see in the two books of scripture are actually much older than what the modern theologians and scholars have publicly claimed. We're taught in the scriptures as the Old Testament is actually the book or tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You shall not, or the law. You see, Eve was told by the serpent that her eyes would be opened if she ate the fruit. This fruit is, of course, knowledge. The book of knowledge of good and evil revealed the law of polarity. And Paul explains this law beautifully in Romans chapter 7. In contrast, the so-called New Testament, which had been hidden from the first parents, strictly because they chose the knowledge of the world rather than the knowledge of God. And it was that tree of life, that what we call today the New Testament, that Adam and Eve rejected when they listened to the serpent and partook of the forbidden fruit. So, since our first mother and father chose law, they were bound by that law until the prophecies were fulfilled. The first book brought down from Sinai by Moses was the so-called New Testament. When Moses saw the children of Israel sinning with the golden calf, he destroyed that book and brought down the Torah, or the law, instead. Indeed, the Beatitudes were actually the first original law, but it was again hidden until such a time when the Hebrews were worthy to receive it. Thus, the law was never meant for the Hebrews, insofar as the book of life was the book that we were supposed to have chosen first. But due to the first sin of rejecting the commandment, do not eat of the fruit of the tree, nor touch of it lest you die, we became bound. What Satan succeeded in doing was binding us with him in the law. Our covetousness is what got us here. The law is designed to set limitations on the forces of evil on this planet. But because we wanted to learn about good and evil, polarity, and how this plane works, like I said, hubris, wanted to be greedy, we wrongly chose something that placed humanity into the plane of effects instead of the spiritual plane of causes. Now, upon finally receiving the book of life, many secular Christians particularly rejected the book of knowledge of good and evil, arguing that the Messiah has already fulfilled the law. This is the wrong approach on many levels, however. First, Yeshua himself taught that not one jot nor tittle from the law will by no means pass away until all things are fulfilled. All things have not been fulfilled yet in the prophets. Second, the law is actually a weapon of the saints. Recall how when Yeshua was tempted by Satan, he only quoted Torah. That is because he was showing us the tools necessary to bind the enemy. You see, he is trapped on this plane, and the time will come that this plane will be destroyed and all of the wicked along with it. So long as we're a Messiah, we have the authority to use the Torah to bind the wicked, and we are protected in his blood. Outside of Messiah, however, we are no longer under the grace of the Father, but under the law, and are bound by the law, and will be judged by the law. Many ideas and teachings of the Messiah now make sense, such as forsaking the world, picking up your cross.